Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And joining me once again, we're welcoming her back to Team Racing. We have Claudia Barragan, who is running for at-large here for the district, for the Council of the District of Columbia. How are you, Claudia?
I'm doing well, thank you. Doing well.
Awesome, awesome. Great to see you again. Happy to have you here. You were just here when we had our forum series in
Mhm.
September. You were a part of that. How did you enjoy that, by the way?
Oh, I did. It was great. It was
Thank
definitely
you,
great.
thank you. Awesome, awesome. And for the viewers out there, you can check out our forum with our at-large candidates. It's posted right here in the channel if you didn't get a chance. And there you can see Claudia as well. Now, Claudia, we also interviewed you back in July,
Mhm.
about this specific at-large candidate race. And now, we're doing a follow-up. Tell me, how has the campaign trail been like since we last interviewed you?
Yeah, definitely. It's been good. It's been very difficult because of COVID. And really being able to. So as an immigrant, I tend to I do so much better when I'm around people
Yeah.
and actually meeting face to face with people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been difficult. So there was been chances. Last week we had a caravan and
Mm-hmm.
during the weekend, and we blasted music, and I had my window down asking people to vote for Claudia all throughout the city, and that was really good. I think we need to do a little bit more of that.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, I think the other big difficult part from the first time around was just the lack of funds and understanding how expensive campaigns are.
Yes, yes.
Talking a lot about just the immigrant community because I feel like that's like a really like I've been learning a lot more about even my own community. What I didn't even think that like there was more to learn, and there's always more to
Yes.
learn. How most people don't really understand within the immigrant community how expensive it is to run, and that's one of the reasons why you don't see as many of us running.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it's such a uphill battle, right? And
Mhm.
I'm running with like just only my own funds, and it's good because I'm proving that you can do it.
Yes, yes.
But I'm also seeing how difficult that is. So yeah, that's been like I think the biggest struggle. But other than that, I've been staying positive.
Awesome, awesome. Let's talk a little bit about some of the issues. I know one of the big things that's definitely on your heart, has to do with, LGBTQ immigrants, especially in this country and what they do face and sometimes the conversations that are forgotten about. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So it's interesting because in there's so many things to talk about, like in terms of immigrants, right? Like one of the things that I've noticed in the city is specifically, but also regionally, we tend to have this idea that immigrants equals Latinos.
Hmm.
For instance, we had the Latino forum, and there was this like big question about, how do we uh, direct funding to Latino LGBTQ communities, right?
Hmm.
And the struggles that because there's very specific organizations that get the funding.
Hmm.
How do you spread the love? And my first response was like, well, let's stop thinking that Latinos equals immigrant,
Hmm.
and really start uniting in terms of even how we're spending the funds, right? So that then everybody like because as a small community of Latinos, that's 10% of the population. If you
Yeah,
look at immigrants as a whole, now we're talking about 20% of the population.
yeah, yeah.
Our asks can be a lot stronger, and then also inserting our needs in specific needs that are at the city is supposed to fund for us. For example,
Yeah.
recreation, right? When I was working on council, I was working for the committee on recreation, overseeing them, and there's a bucket of money that if we were to align it better. And if organizations that are, like again, immigrant LGBT community as a whole would say, well, in this particular neighborhood, we need a recreation center and we need this cultural programming. And then like now we start like actually democratizing the funding, right? So that
Yes,
it's,
yes.
it's not just a Latino organization. Oh, this is what I want. It's actually saying, well, this is for everyone that,
Yes.
within the community. So stuff like that, I think that's really important. Other issues are just the cultural and the heritage part. Right now is Latino Heritage Month.
Mm-hmm.
And, it gets me thinking a lot about heritage and even indigenous communities, right? I'm part of an indigenous community in my
Yeah.
country, and how even within our codes, our ethnic codes, it must, for me, I think of how hard it is to start inserting the LGBTQ community in those codes, so that it's really more about people rather than gender,
Yes.
right? Even in indigenous language, right, or indigenous codes. So it's interesting. I think like the more we talk about these things, the more we'll challenge our elders to think about
Yes.
those terms. So yeah.
I see, I see. Now you're running in a really, really big race. This is a big race, and at the moment there are around 24 people running. Tell me something. Do you support like instant runoff voting, or one of those? Do you think that that would better handle a situation like this? What are your thoughts on that?
Actually, at first I was like, yeah, it sounds like a really good idea. And then I looked at, like, I did a little bit more research about it. In my country, actually, we have runoffs, right? We're 75% indigenous, right? And they're only helpful if you have those numbers. Like that the minority is a majority, right? What you
Yeah.
consider the minority, right? So for someone like me, I don't think that would help me at all, because
Uh,
ultimately it's a likability contest, right? It's almost like a like, if you're liked, and if you're popular, then you'll be able to rank higher than when you're not, right? And if you have a small voting population like immigrants do, because of documentation, then it makes it harder for someone like me or like you, for anybody that is from a minority community, to be represented, unless you really start making concessions with bigger groups. And
uh,
it's those concessions that makes the difference. So you'll start seeing people run uh, a very successful campaign, but they have made concessions to organizations that are going to support them, but they're not. Nothing is ever free, right?
yeah.
So those concessions will make it so that popularity contest is, it it ultimately doesn't benefit some, like, the community, I think. Other so I wouldn't say no to it. What I would
Hmm.
say is we need to write the legislature
Yeah. Yeah.
starts providing equity to people, like, to candidates like me, or like if anybody else would want to run, right, like that is.
Yes. Yes.
So, because that's what happens with these bills, we don't write them, so therefore they're only written in a very pragmatic, generalist perspective way, and these issues never resolve. Like, that's what happened with fair elections, right?
Yeah.
I'm not part of fair elections because I came in too late into the game. Had I gotten a chance to write the bill, I would have been able to, like, extend the time that you can go into a campaign, go, join the public process, like the qualifying process.
Got it. Tell me something. So with that many people too, would you care to share who your second vote is? Because there are two votes for the at-large seat here on the Council of the District of Columbia. Is there someone that you would give your second vote to?
So right now, I'm still a big question mark on it, and it's about strategy. I really think the reason why I'm running is because I feel like we're running out of time. And when I say we, again, it's communities of color, Black communities, Black families, immigrants, because council has been gentrified. That's a reality. I was in there for 2 years. There's no willingness to have people like me to have some power to write bills. We're devalued, we're not wanted, and this is by progressives. So even progressive candidates, I don't trust them anymore. And I supported many progressive candidates. I just don't trust them because I've seen their actions. Um, in terms of Latinos, for example, one of the talks was like, well, why don't you guys unify? It's like five of you guys, like it would make it easier if you guys, like, supported each other. But it supported one of you as opposed to five. And my response to that was like, well, we want choice, right? And we're giving people choice. They have all the flavors of Latinos that you would want, right? Except an Afro Latino, for example. But you have all those flavors. So one of the things I told him is that, hey, in fact, if we were to vote, you have 2 votes. So if all Latinos were to vote for 2 immigrants, we may still not get the vote. We may not, because we're running, an uphill battle here. But at least we'll be able to show and tell people, hey, you guys didn't vote for us.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want diversity in there? Do you really, is that commitment really there? Because I feel like a vote is not just for one person, but it's also for an ideology and a fight. At least for us immigrants right now, voting against Trump we're voting against Trump. Some of us are not voting for Biden, we're voting against Trump. So we're voting for that right, or for that issue, right? That huge issue that we have, that we're facing. So I think that that's important. So right now I'm between either voting for, like I said, like an immigrant, or voting for someone who won't be as harmful. But I'm really glad I'm on the race, because at least I'm giving people the choice to vote for me.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Thanks so much, Claudia.
Mm-hmm.
Before I let you go, could you just go ahead and share with our viewers how they can support your campaign, how they can follow you, how they can keep up with you if they want to? Go ahead.
Yeah, so really quick, one of the things that I wanted to definitely bring up in this campaign was the connections between housing and LGBT community needs.
Mm-hmm.
Issues like the town nightclub that was closed, and it turned into a condo building.
Devastating, devastating,
And yeah, now liquor
devastating.
store, like their liquor license is not being done. So all of those things, right? I feel like someone like me, who is an urban planner and who has that knowledge and wants to support these things, right? And not just support them, but fight for them. Because I think that's what we need. We need fighters in there. We don't need just people to speak sweet nothings to us.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm the candidate for that. So please follow me, Claudia, for the See.com on Facebook. Talk to me. I really want to be able to participate, and I want to thank the LGBT community as a whole, because you have been supportive to me this whole time. And I'm out there. I'll pay forward.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Claudia. It's such a pleasure chatting with you today. Wish you the best of luck on your campaign and the election, and always great chatting with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.